Okay, that's it. Thanks for coming. Have a good night. See you all tomorrow. Before we get going, I do want to thank all of the members of the selection and the nominating committees. Some of you are here tonight. What they do, they're integral to the whole process of selecting these inductees. So it's a lot of hard work, so I appreciate all of their efforts. Our first inductee in the contributor category, Bill Booth. Let's run the video. And introducing Bill will be Fran Meyer.
Probably shouldn't stand behind the podium. Well, thank you all for being here this evening, and I'm really thrilled and honored to be able to introduce you to Bill Booth. And I especially want to thank Jim Hackenberg for nominating him, because, you know, Bill's the kind of guy who's really humble and modest. He doesn't like talking about himself or the things that he's done. So if not for your nomination, a lot of the history of what he's done might be lost to history. So thank you, Jim. Appreciate that. Now, Bill and I served on the USAPA board back in the day, and I asked some of our fellow board members to describe you in a word or two. And they said things like, brilliant, creative, dedicated, detail-oriented, visionary, helpful. And this from Dennis Dewey, Bill was always right. He meant it in a good way, though. And I know exactly what he meant, and it made me smile, because we would have these board meetings, and people would say, well, you know, I remember so-and-so mentioned this. And Bill would go, no, it was really so-and-so that said it. And then someone else would say, well, the date for such and such is coming up. And Bill would go, no, the date is really something else. And he was always correcting us, but he was always right. And about the dedication, I had occasion to go over to Jan and Bill's on numerous occasions for USAPA business. And Bill was always at his computer working on something for USAPA, or he would be working on a project, like, you know, and he'd show me these little gadgets. He'd go down to Home Depot and buy these parts and create these little test devices for measuring the paddle compressibility and deflection and so forth. So, you know, it was not unusual for him to spend 60 hours or more per week just working on USAPA stuff. And remember, those were the days of unpaid volunteers. So that's real dedication. And another thing I want to bring up is that my husband was given the credit for being the first director of the national tournament, but it was really Bill's idea. And I remember thinking at the time, you know, Bill's vision is that this is going to really elevate pickleball and make it more popular. And I'm thinking, nobody even knows what USAPA is. They don't know what pickleball is. Who do you think's going to come? So we worked really hard, because that was Bill's suggestion. And we created the best national tournament we knew how. It was a huge success. It brought us on a journey from festival in Buckeye, Arizona, to Casa Grande, then to Indian Wells, and now to the Brookhaven Country Club. And Bill, you were right. So thank you very much for your vision and all of the dedication to the hard work of growing pickleball for the pickleball community and for pickleball in general. Please help me welcome Bill Booth to the Pickleball Hall of Fame.
Well, her introduction may have been longer than my speech. Fran was giving me credit for having the idea for the first national tournament, but she was really the one that made it happen. She organized everything, and she was very good at organizing everything. And she did a lot of things besides that. That's why she's in the Hall of Fame now. Well, I have to share this honor with my wife, Jan, because she helped me with most of my projects and helps me support me in so many ways. In addition to having so many things that she did of her own on her own projects, like doing all of the membership for several years, running the desk at the national tournament, among other things. And as Fran said, back then we really didn't have any help. We couldn't afford to hire anybody because in the early days of the USA Pickleball Association, there wasn't a lot of money, there weren't a lot of members, and we had to just let it grow from there. So not only did Jan help with volunteer time, she actually gave away part of our house for the effort. Our kitchen table was the membership department. There were times we couldn't park the cars in the garage because they were full of pallets, full of portable pickleball nets. The kitchen counter was our paddle testing lab. So thank you, Jan, for all of that you did to help support the sport. As I look back on my time as on the board of the USA Pickleball, I now realize what an exceptional group that was. And apparently the Hall of Fame committee agrees with me, because 6 of those people that were on the board with me are now in the Hall of Fame. Those 6 board members, well, of course, Fran Meyer, Earl Hill, Norm Davis, as all of those were contributors. And the players were Mark Friedenberg, Pat Kane, and Steve Wong. And I know Steve is here too somewhere. There he is. Also, another Hall of Fame member was our newspaper publisher, and that was Jennifer Lucor. That was really an amazing group that all came together at the same time to really kind of set the stage for the development of what we know pickleball has now become. I'll just close by saying it was a real privilege to have worked with and played with all of those Hall of Fame members that did so much to lay the foundation for the success of the sport.
Give it up. Now I'm going to ask Hall of Fame board member Suzanne Guerin to present Bill with all his goodies. How about one more round of applause for Bill Booth? Okay, our second inductee is Mona Burnett. Let's please run the video. And here to introduce Mona are Yvonne and Jim Hackenberg.
All right. Good evening. We're very proud to have the honor of introducing the 2023 Pickleball Hall of Fame inductee, Mona Burnett.
It certainly is, but before I do, I want to echo what Stu said and send out compliments to the Pickleball Hall of Fame nomination committee and the selection committees, because this year's class is truly worthy of this great honor, and they did an outstanding job, so I want to thank them. But back to Mona.
Mona Burnett was one of the dominant players of our era.
Yeah, and when we talk about our era, most of these great young players of today were either toddlers or weren't even born in our era.
But Mona Burnett was very much a pickleball star between the years 2009 and 2019.
Yeah, well, what do you remember most about Mona during those years playing against her?
I remember her power, the power of her shots, especially if we got our dink shot up a little too high and Mona's at the net.
Yeah. I would always look at the draws, and if Mona was in it, then I knew I had to go out there with a catcher's mask, chest protector, and a cup, because you did not want to leave it up where Mona could put it away.
Yes, Mona was very intimidating with her 5'9" frame.
Most of it was legs. It was hard to concentrate.
Yes, but Mona's success really is the result of the hours of practice and drilling we were witness to. She is truly an example of what hard work and dedication can get you.
Yeah, but we did find one way to beat her, though, didn't we?
Net cord winners.
Oh, did she hate it when you hit a net cord against her? Oh, my God. You could get under her skin that way. It was a hard shot to master, so normally you were on the wrong side of the results. But if you could get net cord winners, you had her number.
Yeah. Another thing, you hear about people saying, they'll ask you, what's your secret sauce? What's the key to your success? For Mona, it was peanut butter. Mona would take a spoon to a jar of peanut butter and eat it by the spoonful between her matches.
Yeah, I did some research too, and I looked up Mona's past tournament results and all the players she played with and won these tournaments with, and it's really interesting that she partnered with 7 Pickleball Hall of Famers, including you, Yvonne.
That's right. We played several matches together, and I really value that time that we had together.
In addition to Yvonne, Mona partnered with Enrique Ruiz, Steve Wong, Larry Moon, Gigi Lemaster, Hillary Merrill, and this year's inductee, Scott Moore. So, Mona, if they haven't thanked you for getting them into the Hall of Fame, it's high time they did tonight.
And finally, Mona has a talent that most people don't know about. Mona was an excellent quilter, and she showed me a lot of some of the pieces that she did, and especially the beautiful jackets and coats that she made for her daughters, and they were embellished. She embellished them with some beautiful embroidery.
Yeah, and one final thing, Mona being from Canada, she has this. She's an expert at that exciting, riveting, edge of your seat sport of curling. Now, she tried to explain it to me once, but honestly, all I remember is some guy staring with a stone and a handle, letting it go, and then 2 men screaming, trying to clean the ice. Ah! That's all I remember.
Before we dozed off. Well, without further ado, I'd like to introduce the 2023 Pickleball Hall of Fame inductee, Mona Burnett.
Thank you, Jim and Yvonne, for such thoughtful and beautiful words. They're very kind. And the net cords were a problem, yes. It is heartwarming to see all of the familiar faces that have been such an integral part of my pickleball journey. This is truly amazing. The beginning of pickleball tournaments for me in 2009 was playing the same players at all of the local tournaments for a $2.50 medal and bragging rights. Traveling to a tournament meant getting into your vehicle and driving to Tucson just to freeze your butt off while working your way through the bracket and hopefully into the gold medal match. That was 14 years ago. Yes, I am the dinosaur of the group here today. I played in the inaugural USA PA National Tournament in 2009. I played in the inaugural Tournament of Champions in 2013 and the inaugural US Open in 2016. My first major win was at the 2011 USA PA National Tournament with a young man from Seattle who could have been my son, Timothy Nelson. Winning the Open Mixed Doubles medal was really exciting and whet my competitive appetite. As the sport grew, a senior division was born, and I was fortunate enough to partner with the man who was the most sought-after mixed doubles partner, Larry Moon. What a treat. Larry was very supportive, very talented, very fast, and very funny. The first time I played with him, he dumped one of his infamous baseline drives into the net, and he put his hand over his eyes and said, "Oh my heavens, Larry." Oh boy, did I ever laugh, because that's not at all what I thought was going to come out of his mouth. The man with the truck and camper, and always a willing, warm hug after a close loss. One of my fonder memories was the gold medal match of the 2017 US Open, when Tyler Sheffield and I quietly worked our way through the 58 or 64 teams, I think, and ended up center court gold medal match against Jennifer Dawson and Steve Dawson. What a great final match. I can still remember the details of that third game. Even though Tyler and I lost 12-10 in the third game, the memory of that match is etched in my mind. What fun that was, and what great and gracious opponents. Scott, do you remember when I asked you to play TOC at Nationals in 2015? And your reply to me was, "I don't really want to play mixed doubles because I really don't want to hit at a woman and potentially hurt her." And my reply was, "I understand and appreciate your feelings, but we as women know that we will be the target in mixed doubles, and most of us are up to the challenge." You reluctantly agreed to play Happy Trails with me, to just give it a try. Well, it's quite obvious that you got over that reservation. We had some great wins, but the most memorable one for me was winning senior mixed doubles at the 2015 national tournament. That was a wonderful win. Gail Dacey, great pickleball player and a great friend. Gigi LeMaster, my fellow Dink Queen. I remember her debut into the tournaments and surprise. Always present at the end of the tournament, always supporting fellow players, and always giving so much back to the sport of pickleball. She was awesome. Yvonne. You and Jim brought a level of competition and sportsmanship to any tournament you participated in. You are both wonderful ambassadors of the sport. I will forever remember the call of "Jim" whenever a lob went up in the air. And Jim, you were such a good sport to hunt every one of them down. A lot of good memories, Yvonne. Thanks for partnering with me. Luba Z, my dear Luba. It is extremely hard to put into words how wonderful our brief partnership was. Playing with or against Luba was an absolute joy, which I looked forward to each and every time. Our on-court chemistry was undeniable. We both knew what our role was, and we just stepped onto the court and went about our business. There was no eye rolling, no slumping shoulders, and no looking to the heavens. We both knew that we were leaving everything we had on the court, and we would accept the outcome graciously. The comfort level I felt on the court with Luba was something that I had not experienced before and have never experienced since. It was truly wonderful, and I was so silently proud of our success. The Canadian Dream Team. The 2015 USA National Tournament. What a rush. This was the most magical and memorable moment of my pickleball career, and I knew that I had reached the peak of my success as this tournament came to a close. Winning the 3 age division events was super exciting, and I had to try really hard not to get ahead of myself. I knew that I had partners in the final 2 open events who were real gold medal possibilities. The senior women's doubles was not an easy feat. We actually lost the final point in the bronze medal match, except for a foot fault from our opponents. We were down 10-7, and through 2 side outs, we clawed ourselves back to a 12-10 victory to get us into the gold medal match against Yvonne and Hillary. A well-played match by all, and fortunately, Luba and I came out on top. I still to this day watch and rewatch that match because the level of play was so fun, and Yvonne and Hillary such great opponents. I went back to my shed that night and pondered, could this be? I have a great partner and a great chance to make this a 5-medal gold medal tournament. Keeping this to myself as I didn't want the pressure, Scott and I set to work and worked our way through the 58 teams in the senior mixed doubles bracket. The stars lined up, and my magical moment came to fruition. 5 gold medals at the 2015 USAPA National Tournament. Sorry. All I can say is thank you to Luba, Tyler, and Scott for partnering with me and helping me achieve this unbelievably incredible result. I still don't have words to describe it, but rest assured, I think about the events of that week often. In closing, I want to congratulate all of the inductees of 2023, Jennifer Dawson, Scott Moore, Seymour Rifkind, and Bill Booth. All of you are so very worthy of this honor. Like everything in life, pickleball came into my life as a season. It was a huge part of my life, and I was lucky enough to experience a significant level of success. However, Father Time has a way of making you aware that the season may be coming to a close. I will be forever grateful for the experiences I have shared with the many wonderful people I have met throughout my season. The honor that has been bestowed upon me today is nothing short of amazing, and quite simply, the cherry on top of a wonderful pickleball journey. I want to thank everyone who has been a part of my journey, because without all of you, the results of my journey would have been very different. It has been a wild and fun ride that I will be forever grateful, and I will cherish this special honor until my final breath. I thank each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart.
And here to present Mona with her plaque, ring, and jacket is board member Kim Jade. our next inductee. Let's run the video for Jennifer Dawson. And Jennifer will be introduced by Steve Dawson. Go figure.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, you rowdy corner over there. First of all, I'd like to say it's so wonderful just being in this room with so many friends. My family's here, which is great, and my pickleball family's here. I just love being here, and thank you all for being here. It's wonderful. I say that because when I leave this room and go back to Nationals tomorrow when I play, I will be officially known and recognized as Jennifer's husband. So here's a true story. I was out at the venue yesterday walking down Main Boulevard where the bands are and all that sort of stuff, and someone comes up to me and says, "Hey, I know you." And I said, "Well, nice to meet you." And he goes, "You're Jennifer's husband." And I said, "Bingo, you got me." So then he pulls out his selfie and he wants to take pictures of me. And I say, okay. So he takes his little pictures and does his little thing. And then he pulls out his paddle and says, "Will you sign my paddle?" So he unzips his paddle cover and pulls out the paddle. He says, "I have this gold pen. Will you sign it, please?" And I said, "Absolutely." So I sign his paddle and he says, "Oh, thank you very much." And he puts it back in his paddle cover and off he goes. Sometime today, he would have taken out that paddle and on it would say, "Jennifer's husband." That's a true story. So anyway, a little bit about Jennifer before I bring her up here. She's an incredible competitor, and I think what makes her so fabulous on the court is her absolute hatred of losing. I've always been known to say that I think I've already won just because I'm playing this wonderful game of pickleball. And that attitude has gotten me to the point where I get to be on the podium to introduce someone with a little bit different attitude. So when Jennifer loses matches, it's a lot of people get mad, but it seems to me that her chromosomes and her DNA in the smallest cell and in every cell of her body starts steaming, and you can see this coming out of her, so that it's like from the most microbial level, her body is churning at the thought of defeat. But what also makes her a wonderful competitor is a phrase I like to say is that to Jennifer, it seems like pickleball is the most important thing in her life when she's competing. The whole world doesn't exist. The pickleball court is her sanctuary, and she goes 110% with one goal, and that's to win. And what makes her so successful is the minute she walks off the court, she shuts the gate, match is over. It's done. The talk is done. She'll play these matches, and when she loses, which she does lose, but she'll play these matches, come off the court and losing the finals of a national championship. I'm condoling, so sorry, honey. She goes, "Where are we going for dinner?" It's like, the match is over, and that makes her an incredible competitor. She puts pickleball in its spot. If you guys were invited to my house, some of you have been there. You walk in the front door, you would have absolutely no idea that Jennifer even played the game. These medals, awards, banners, ribbons, whatever you say, that she leaves on the pickleball court, and she does fabulous there. And then off the court, She's my wonderful and loving and supporting wife, and I introduce Jennifer Dawson.
Hi, everybody. Okay, I just want to say that I'm incredibly honored and humbled to be inducted into the Pickleball Hall of Fame. It's a surreal feeling knowing that I'll forever be alongside such incredible players and contributors that were inducted before me. And if it wasn't for these many hardworking and passionate people who promoted and developed the foundation of the sport, I would not be here today. I am so appreciative to be included and associated with such an esteemed group of people. I have to say, pickleball has been such a blessing in my life. It has really brought so much joy and fulfillment into my life. It has brought our immediate and extended families even closer. My husband, kids, sister, sister-in-law, brother, brother-in-law, and mom all play and enjoy this wonderful sport. Even my mom, who's 81 years old, still plays 6 days a week. How incredible is that? The sport has also allowed me to make so many long-lasting friendships, like those guys over there. Pickleball is such a fantastic sport because one can play to socialize, exercise, or compete at all different levels. As you all know, there aren't too many sports that offer all these wonderful qualities. I am very fortunate to have pickleball in my life. I'd like to thank a few people and that have made it possible for me to be here today. First and foremost, I want to thank the Pickleball Hall of Fame committee for selecting me for this great honor. I also need to thank my husband, Steve, my kids, Calla and Tyler, for talking me into playing 9 years ago. They really had to twist my arm and convince me because I was playing a lot of tennis at that time. But they've supported me all the way through. I also have to thank my good friend and doubles partner, Cammie McGregor, who's carried me on her back for over 9 years. Thank God she has a strong back. It has been nothing but fun being alongside such an amazing woman. And it makes a world of difference when you have so much positive energy and support on the court. I would also like to thank Don Lockman over here for nominating me for the Pickleball Hall of Fame. So I just want to say thank you to everybody here. Thanks so much.
And to present the jacket is Hillary.
I just wanted to tell everybody that they get a plaque and they get a ring. It's in this goodie bag, the ring, and calling cards, which I think you should give Steve to hand out when people keep saying that he's your husband.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you.
In the competitor category, Scott Moore, let's run the video. And here to introduce Scott is Stephanie Lane.
Good evening, everyone. I have the distinct honor to introduce a true legend in our sport. A man who is called Beast, which is not just a nickname, but a true testament to his incredible power on the court. Scott's journey in pickleball has been nothing short of remarkable, and I'd like to share a story that truly exemplifies his beastness. Scott, you might remember in 2018 at the US Open, you and Lisa found yourselves unusually trailing Barry Waddell and myself with a significant deficit, down a game and like 3-9 or something. Like we had 2 points to beat you. But in a display of sheer determination, Scott Moore became a force of nature, seemingly everywhere at once, and orchestrating a miraculous comeback that led to their victory. And that was one of the years that Scott secured one of his 7 Triple Crowns. Since embarking on his pickleball career in 2013, Scott Moore's list of achievements includes some awe-inspiring highlights that I want to mention. 21-time USA Pickleball National Champion with an astounding 12 consecutive victories at Nationals from 2015 to 2017. 10-time TOC champion, 12-time US Open champion, and as previously mentioned, 7-time Senior Pro Triple Crown winner, signifying his mastery in Senior Pro singles, men's doubles, and mixed doubles. In 2022, he received the prestigious APP Icon Award, becoming the first player to secure Senior Pro and Super Senior Pro gold medals in the same tournament at the Mesa APP Open. But Scott's journey doesn't end on the pickleball court. Scott Moore is not just a dominant player, but also a wonderful entrepreneur who has made significant contributions to the pickleball community. Here are a few. He co-founded Pickleball Trips in 2016, which was born out of his family's passion for travel, meaningful relationships, and the sport of pickleball. Scott developed a comprehensive pickleball training program that he shares with enthusiasts worldwide, both in person and through the online High Performance Pickleball Academy. Scott's impact earned him the 2015 Pickleball Rocks Player of the Year, along with Daniel, reflecting his dedication to the sport and the growth of our sport. This is special to me. He and his wife, Susan, were instrumental in leading and organizing faith gatherings at major tourneys like TOC, Nationals, and US Open. Now I would like to share some thoughts from 2 very special people in your life, Scott, who illustrate your character. First, from your dear friend, Bill Muno, who is here tonight. And I quote, "Scott Moore has been a friend since I met him 7 years ago. Scott shared with me that it's not all about the pickleball, it's about the relationships. Scott is the hardest working senior pro in the country. Now, we all know Scott can be competitive, but I know his heart for God and his family. Scott is world class, both on and off the court." That's from Bill Muno. And secondly, from your sweet son, Daniel. When my dad introduced me to pickleball 10 years ago, saying we will become national champions, I thought both he and the sport were crazy. I can honestly say that it changed the course of my life, and I am thankful that he had the foresight to pursue what seemed like such a lofty goal at the time. No one is more dedicated to pickleball and invested than my dad, and I'm so glad he has had so much success both on and off the court. In conclusion, Scott Moore's induction into the Pickleball Hall of Fame is a testament to his unparalleled dedication, unwavering passion, and relentless pursuit of excellence in pickleball. He embodies the spirit of this sport, and his influence reaches far beyond the boundaries of the court. Scott Moore truly deserves this honor, and we celebrate his remarkable achievements and the mark he has left on the world of pickleball. Scott, I was so honored when you asked me to introduce you. We have enjoyed so many fun times and laughs and delicious meals over the years in those paddle tech homes at big tournaments. And I also know your heart and love for God, people, and pickleball. I'm so happy to welcome you to this elite group tonight. Please join me in congratulating Scott Moore.
Wow. You're about to see a grown man cry. Steph, if you kept that up, thank you. I really appreciate you, Steph. That touched my heart. I couldn't be more grateful. First, to John Foss, who was that guy that first proposed to me, Scott, would you like to play pickleball with me? Neither of us had any idea what a profound change that would have on my life. To Paddle Tech, who made wonderful paddles for me, was a great sponsor, and then became friends. Now it's just Curtis and Nanette. To my amazing partners, including Mona, that really touched me. I won't name the names to protect the innocent tonight, but there's about 10 of you in this room that I counted that put up with me, first of all, and then carried me all the way to the Hall of Fame. Thank you. To my wonderful mom, who's here tonight. Thank you. Yes. You not only took me to play tennis and started my competitive career at about age 7, but you taught me how to love deeply, how to forgive even when you're betrayed by someone you love, how to raise children well, how to serve others and experience life to the fullest by living it as an adventure and a journey. My remarkable wife, Susan, you've been an incredible friend, companion, and off-court partner to me in every way throughout the past 40 plus years. You've always been there for me through all my ups and downs, both on and off the pickleball court. And lastly, to my wonderful Savior, Jesus Christ, who has blessed me with the freedom, the health, the ability, the skills, reflexes, and resources to have lived an extremely abundant life, and also to have performed exceptionally well on a pickleball court. My first tournament was exactly 10 years ago, Nationals 2013. I showed up very green, lost my first match, won 7 in a row to get to the gold medal match. This was the 50 plus 5-0 to play a guy I'd never heard of and get beat by him named Jim Hackenberg. My first real good beating. Thank you, Jim. So that night, what Jim does not know is that I didn't sleep because I realized I had found my calling and that I was going to be a national champion. That had never even been a dream of mine, but I began training, and I hired a friend of mine, and he helped me work out. I lost 20 pounds in about 6 months. And then in the April of 2014, I had my biggest break of my pickleball career. My son, Daniel, moved home from Africa and wasn't sure what he was going to do with his life. I said, Daniel, I found a new sport. It's called pickleball. Don't laugh. But I've seen the competition. I've been to nationals. And if you'll train with me for 6 months, you and I will both be national champions. He said, Dad, I'm in. So we trained for 6 months, get down to nationals, and we absolutely killed everyone in singles, both winning 2 national championships. And in Doubles, we were beaten 11-8 in the third by none other than Wes Gabrielson and Enrique Ruiz, two friends and Hall of Famers. So close, we were just out of the medals. I looked at Daniel and said, Daniel, next year we'll learn how to play doubles. We'll win the doubles and the singles together. He looked at me and said, Dad, next year I think we should play with guys our own ages. Leave it to your children to keep you humble. So, I'm the only guy you'll ever meet who won a gold medal at nationals and was dumped by his doubles partner in the same tournament. Thank you, Daniel. So in 2015, thanks to Mona, I started playing mixed doubles, and Daniel and I both basically won everything we played that year. We were named Pickleball Rocks Co-Players of the Year, and Daniel was just named the best player in the world in 2015. So the moral of the story is, Father doesn't always know best. 2016 came around, and I got to US Open, was playing with the young guys, the pros, got to the bronze medal match, was losing to two guys named Marson and Morgan. And I looked up at the stands, I was really down, saw my wife and said, come on down. And we started dancing. Someone called it the epic timeout in history. We actually turned the whole thing around. I forgot about the pickleball, started thinking about dancing, played better, and won that. Went on to win Triple Crown at TOC that year. I went 6 for 6 at nationals that year as well. Mona being one of my partners, helping me to get there. But the highlight of my year was when, during nationals, the same day I won the 50 plus, Daniel won the 19 plus, and Daniel's grandfather, Poppy, won the 85 plus division. So this is something I'll never, ever forget. We lost Poppy last year at 91 and a half. He played pickleball several times a week after his 91st birthday. And what Poppy taught me was that pickleball really is a lifetime sport. There's not many of them, but it really is. He also taught me it's the most multi-generational sport that I have ever seen. He played not only with his grandchildren, but with his great-grandchildren as well. So, I am now in training for the 90s division in hopes that I'll be given that much life. And my extra long-term pickleball goal is to play with my great-grandchildren. Curtis, do you have any idea what one of the first presents I give to my grandchildren is now? My mini Paddletech paddle, and I just can't wait to get them out on the court with this. Thank you for that. At times, I have felt like pickleball was all about winning medals and awards, or the notoriety and fame that comes with being a top pro. And although those things are great, the reality is that notoriety and fame are fleeting. And as I heard someone say one time, time turns your trophies, or we could say medals, into trash. Don't get me wrong, I'm a competitor to the core of my being, and I love being a top pro and truly appreciate all the nice things that people say along the way. But I have also come to realize the wisdom in my friend John Anderson's words, who he shared with me when I first started winning lots of tournaments. He said, Scott, don't ever forget it's all about the relationships. You see, pickleball, in my opinion, is the ultimate sport known to mankind because it engages us in fun, competitive, meaningful encounters that can enhance and even transform our lives physically, emotionally, socially, and even spiritually. In my case, I lost 20 to 25 pounds the first year I started playing, and at 61, I'm probably in the best shape of my life just because of this crazy game of pickleball that keeps me very motivated. I have other friends like Mike Nielsen, Ben Paquette here in town who have lost over 100 pounds, totally transforming and getting their lives back because they're playing the sport of pickleball. Emotionally, I've had lots of peaks and valleys during my career, but nothing as high as the day after I won 2 gold medals in senior pro events at the US Open 2 years ago. You did not hear me wrong. I said the day after. I was feeling on top of the world, and I wandered back to center court that day. It was a Saturday, and was invited by my buddy Rick to come play with the guys in the wheelchairs. So I get in the wheelchair, and I'm wheeling around, and I was really good when they hit it to me. Not so good when I was trying to wheel around and hit it on the wheel or on the go. So we played a game. I lost. I wheel up to the net to touch paddles. You know we do that in pickleball. I'm going to say good game to the guys. The guy across from me goes, "Hey, Scott, nice game, turtle." I'm like, no one's ever called me a turtle in my life. I was laughing my head off. This guy was so funny. So I try to wheel around for the next 10 or 15 minutes, and they're giving me pointers on how to spin it and, all this stuff. And I wheel off to the back, and I get out of my chair, and I start walking off, and I look back, and they're still out there playing. And it looks like they're having the time of their life. And I start just fighting the tears off because I realized they're never getting up out of their wheelchairs and walking off. And yet, they are having the time of their lives. And what I realized was, more than ever, was that living well and a quality of life is more about your attitude than it is your circumstances. And that was the most valuable pickleball lesson I think I've ever had that I'll never, ever forget. Socially, I really appreciate the few thousand new acquaintances I have through pickleball. However, for me, it doesn't get any better than the true friends for life that we have made, like these guys at the table tonight. Your friendships started with pickleball. They enrich our lives in countless ways, and now even transcend the wonderful game of pickleball. On the spiritual side, I found pickleball at a lonely, down time in my life when I was praying for something to fill the empty void in my life that happened when my youngest son, Stephen, graduated from high school and moved away to college, leaving Susan and I as very, very reluctant empty nesters, having no clue what we were going to do with ourselves. Little did we know that we would soon become captivated by the most fun, fastest growing, and truly all-time greatest sport the world has ever known. Yes, God answered my prayers in a way that I could have never imagined or dreamed. In conclusion, I'm really nothing special. A somewhat normal guy that stumbled on to this fabulous sport at the absolute perfect time. The past decade, I've been privileged to compete all over the country, to teach on pickleball trips all over the world, and continue having way, way more fun than I deserve. And I couldn't be more grateful. I'm going to close, forgive me, Nan, you've heard this way too many times, with my favorite pickleball one-liner from all these years ago, which happened my fellow inductees' hometown of San Diego about 6 or 7 years ago. Nan and Bill were playing with me, and it started raining. We go indoors to a gym where they had a advanced side and an intermediate side. So Bill and I went over to the advanced side. Nan and my wife Susan went to the intermediate side. We played for a couple hours. Then the girls came over to the advanced side, walk in, and run into Michael, the self-designated pickleball enforcer. He is not going to let any intermediates sneak onto the advanced side over his dead body. So he greets them. Hello, ladies. Welcome to the advanced side. I just want to let you know that this is advanced only play. And we're really enforcing that strictly tonight because actually we have Scott Moore playing over there today. And he's one of the best players in the world. So my wife Susan looks at him and says, "Oh, really?" She said, "Well, actually, I slept with him last night." That shut him up. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Our fifth and final inductee, Seymour Rifkind in the contributor category, and we'll go to the video. And introducing Riff will be Steve Peranto.
Haven't these been the best speeches you've ever heard at any award assembly you've ever been to? I can't remember being moved by so many speeches. I guess Stu forgot to tell me about the class I was supposed to take to do the presentation on the speeches. What went? I didn't know we had training sessions, Stu, but I am such an honor tonight to introduce my good friend Seymour Rifkind. I knew right away when I got this text from Seymour. Seymour goes to bed very early. I know this because he stays at my house a couple times a year. Goes to bed very early, gets up very early, and starts working. But I get this text about 11 o'clock, and I go, Seymour's not in America right now. And he was in China and asked me to do this, and so I'm very honored, so thank you for that. The most amazing people that I've met so many amazing people through this sport. I'm going to name some names right now of some amazing people. I want everybody just to think for a minute what they all have in common. Pat Kane, Barney McCallum, Sid Williams, and Arlen Peranto. So if everybody just thinks a minute, what do these four gentlemen have in common? Well, they are all in the Hall of Fame. All of them were alive when they were inducted in the Hall of Fame. That would have never happened without Seymour starting this at the time he did. That was a gift to those people that was meaningless to those four people. So just for that alone, Seymour, you're in my heart, you're in the Hall of Fame just for when you started this, the gift that you gave to those 4 people. So thank you for that. He has a couple of qualities that surpass everybody I've ever been around. I thought I had a lot of determination and would make sacrifices in my life, but I've never seen anybody do it as much as Seymour. An example of this, when he comes to my house, he's up way earlier than I am. I get up, he's on his computer, and he's working on pickleball related things, promoting the sport, doing anything he can to get us in the Olympics. One thing after the other. I just can't believe the time he spends. But there's a sacrifice that he makes that I'm especially not willing to make at his level. And all of you pickleball players can understand that, and that is he's given up his time playing the sport. As much as he loves this sport, he doesn't get to play that much. That's a sacrifice I know a lot of you players aren't willing to make. Seymour, thank you for doing that. That's a big, huge sacrifice. I found out listening to stories from Seymour that he has a trick that he uses to make himself meet all these goals he sets. He sets goals. One of the tricks he has is he tells everybody, I'm going to do this, no matter how crazy the goal is. So this goes back to Seymour is a very accomplished gymnast. And when he was in high school, his father helped build parallel bars for him in the yard. And, they're cementing oars or something into, I forget what you told me, it was a very rudimentary set of parallel bars. In the cement, Seymour writes down state champion in the year that he's going to graduate from high school. And so it's out there. Everybody that comes to his house, everybody knows Seymour, he said he's going to be the state champion. Seymour was the state champion. Another example is that crazy bike ride he did to earn all the money for our sport and get the eye on our sport. What's he do? He tells people he's going to ride 3,000 miles from California to Florida. He's hardly trained for this. He bought a bike just a little bit of time before that. But because he said he's going to do it, he does it. And some of those days he told me about, I know I would have said, sorry, I'm done, too dangerous, might get killed. I almost got hit by a car, I've been bit by dogs, the wind's crazy. I mean, the stories I heard, I doubt if anyone in this room would have been able to do what he did. That kind of determination is something that surpasses anything I've ever been around. Our typical visits at my house, again, he's working in the morning, we go teach, maybe do a clinic. If we're lucky, we get to play. I've introduced Seymour to lots of my great friends. But finally, last spring, I got to take him doing something outside of pickleball. I have a floating home on the Columbia River. We went out, and I'm thinking, please let us catch some fish today, because you know how fishing is just sometimes just fishing, not catching. But we were catching sturgeon after sturgeon. And, I think Seymour, dripping wet, weighs 125 pounds, and I think he caught a sturgeon that also weighed 125 pounds. And he was determined to win that fight, and he did. And we're still going to see a lot of fights from Seymour Rifkind. So everybody, this is Seymour Rifkind.
And I'm the last guy. I won't be 5 minutes, though. I'll tell you that right now. I am truly humbled to be here this evening. It's a little strange. I've been the MC to this event for 6 years. I'm the lucky 7th year. I'm inducted, and I am so, so grateful and honored. First and foremost, what an amazing 2023 class of inductees. Scott Moore, unbelievable. The competitor, the beast. Mona. This has not been brought up, but our idea of developing a independent, non-for-profit Hall of Fame was that it would represent the sport of pickleball worldwide. Now, we've had a number of inductees that were born in other countries that live here in the United States. Mona is the first truly international inductee residing in Canada. There's only can be one. You're number one, Mona. Congratulations. We have a tremendous group. Thank you for all being here this evening. You know, we've got great competitors here, and we've all heard about those great accomplishments, and so all of them are so worthy to be in the Hall of Fame. Jennifer and Steve, I remember back in 2016 when I came to SoCal, a tournament that you guys started at Bobby Riggs. They were so generous in allowing me to keep my RV on their property. And when I first got out on the court, Steve set me up and he said, I'm going to give you a nice little warm-up match. Who does he set me up with? Jennifer and Tammy. So I got out on the court with the two of them and got spanked pretty good, but had a great time, and they were always so generous. So thank you for all of your contributions, Jennifer, your excellent play, obviously, and your generosity. To Jim and Yvonne Hackenberg, thank you, Jim, for nominating me for this incredible induction. It's obviously, without having been inducted, without having been nominated, we never get inducted. And that process is a pretty strenuous one. So you've heard a couple of people already make mention and thank our nominating committee. Our nominating committee is made up of 9 people. They are responsible for reviewing all the applications that come through. Then they take the top 10 people after they've met and discussed the accomplishments of each of the people that were applying in that category. They have several Zoom calls. It takes about a week of hard, dedicated work. 10 people eventually get, up to 10, get eventually potentially sent over to the selection committee. 7 different people then review the 7 people, and from there you get the outstanding class of 2023. So it's a difficult process. It's one that's 100% transparent, and that's the way the Hall of Fame should be in any sport, including ours. So again, congratulations to all of our competitors. I've been inducted because of my contributions to the sport, and it is an absolutely tremendous accomplishment. I want to thank everybody that is here tonight. But for me, the greatest reward that I can possibly get are the friendships and the people that I've met along the way. You know, I've said many, many times, I love pickleball. I love competing. But what I love most about pickleball is that it's a vehicle to change people's lives. And I've seen this around the world, regardless of what religion, where you're from, the race, the age. You get on the pickleball court with 3 other strangers, and at the end of a couple of hours, you got 4 new friends. I'm so blessed to have my family here tonight. Can my family please stand up? My lovely wife, Holly, my son, Ryan, my sister, Shirley, my brother, Norman, and his wife, Charlotte. I've got my extended family, and in this room, it's probably about 90% of the people here. And that's one of the greatest things that we have as a sport of pickleball, is that I've been involved in about a dozen different sports, and I've never, ever met a more passionate group of players that love their sport and are basically selling the sport to everybody they know because of the beauty that you've already heard, mentally, physically, socially, how it brings people together, how differences are amazingly and quickly dropped, all because of this phenomenal sport. Pickleball has changed the lives of so many people, and I believe pickleball can change the world. Yes, I said 10 years ago that pickleball will be the most popular sport in the world. Over the last couple of years, people are starting to believe. My dream 10 years ago, which I shared with the people that started IPTPA with me. People like Stephanie Lane, people like Wes Gabrielson, people like Enrique Ruiz, people like Kyle Yates, Jennifer Lucor, Alex Hamner. Many of them are already in the Hall of Fame. I shared with them that I want to see pickleball in the Olympics. And everything I've tried to do along the way are the baby steps to get us there. You know, I'm a marathoner. I was a marathoner. I was an ultra marathoner. And I'm used to taking one step at a time. When I said we would be in the Olympics 10 years ago, people thought I was wacky. Today, people think it's just going to automatically happen. Well, I am wacky. It won't automatically happen. We still have a ways to go. I would give the plaque and everything that you are bestowing on me today if we could just get the egos put aside and everybody come together to work for the sport that we love and deserves to be in a future Olympic game. After IPTPA, as you know, I started the Pickleball Hall of Fame, which is why we're all here today. That doesn't happen without people like our initial board, Steve Peranto, Wes Gabrielson, Andy Gensch. What else am I missing? Help? When I first talked to Wes about being on the board, he said, well, Riff, you know, I'm a busy guy. I don't know if I can spend too much time. I said, it's not going to take too much time. We're going to have 4 meetings a year. It's going to last about, a half hour. During a 2-week period of time, during the induction process, we're going to have to work pretty hard because that's when the inductees are determined. And he said, okay, well, I'm in. Well, there was a period of 2 years where the board was meeting 3 times a week in order to try to bring everybody together so we would have one Pickleball Hall of Fame. That finally happened. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that the Hall of Fame is a much stronger Hall of Fame. There are nothing but great things I'm sure that will happen moving forward. As we've already heard from Sue, the Mobile Pickleball Hall of Fame, hopefully that will be something that takes place next year. And yeah, Steve mentioned that trip of mine. We had some money, but we needed more to do the design of the Hall of Fame. I wanted a first-class Hall of Fame. So I was thinking, what can I do? I came up with this stupid idea of riding my bike across the country because during COVID, I started to bike a little bit again. And as a result of that, I need to pay my respect and unwavering thanks to a few people. Jim and Yvonne Hackenberg, they drove 250 miles out of their way to take me out for dinner in the middle of that ride. The day they showed up, it was a rainstorm, if you remember. And the first thing they said, Riff, did you go riding today? I go out riding every day, man. I got to get across the country. So not only are they Hall of Famers, but they are tremendous ambassadors for the sport, great humanitarians, and you have no idea what it meant to me for you to come out and have dinner with me, to motivate me to keep going. I got into Texas, and I got into the hill country. Here we are back in Texas. For 3 weeks, every single day, there were a pack of dogs that were chasing me. Every single day. Where are all these dogs coming from? I get a note from Hillary Merrill. Hillary says she's going to come down, take me out for dinner. Boy, I'm excited. I get to see Hillary. Every time I find that there's a Hall of Famer that's following my ride, it was giving me additional motivation. The particular day that she came out was the longest ride of the 39 days that I was on that bike, 120 miles. So the way that you go across the country, I took what's called the Southern Tier. And my phone was my GPS because you're going on all these back roads. I knew basically the route I was going to be taking. I got to about 115 miles the GPS goes dead. Which way do I go? I get to an intersection. Do I go left or do I go right? I'm not quite sure. I'm exhausted. It's about 5 o'clock at night. I know Hillary is waiting for me. I go left. I ride 6 miles. I don't see the turnoff. I don't see the hotel I'm supposed to meet my lovely wife, who, by the way, took an RV. And while I was riding my bike, she was out 20 or 25 miles ahead of me, getting food preparation for me, fluids, getting the battery recharged so that I could continue going, the lights and everything else. I mean, there's not too many people anywhere that are going to take 6 weeks out of their life and ride an RV all by themselves just to support their husband, who's got this crazy idea about raising money for the Pickleball Hall of Fame. So, my lovely wife, Holly, I go 6 miles and I'm thinking to myself, I turned the wrong way. So what do? Go back the other way. Go back to where that main crossing was, go 6 miles that way. Guess what? I don't see anything. I pull off to the side of the road. Now I've got about 130 miles in. My knees are all swelled up. I'm crying on the side of the road. What the hell do? I can't call anyone. My battery's dead. I'm just sitting on the side of the road. A nice little red minivan comes by and he says, "Hey, you okay?" I go, "Yeah, I'm fine." He starts to pull away. "Wait, I'm not fine." I find out that there's a paraplegic driving the car, and I explain to him that I'm supposed to meet my wife and some other friends at this particular hotel. He says, "Hop in, I'll take you there." Where was it? A quarter of a mile further on the initial turn, there's where the hotel was. All I had to do is ride another quarter mile, but I gave up a little bit too soon. I try to be a persistent individual, but after 125 miles that day, my knees swelled up and aching. I didn't think I was going the right way. I turned around and went the other way. Anyway, thank you, Hillary, because Hillary then took me out for dinner, got me motivated again, got me ready to go the next day, and she also drove about 250 miles just to support little old me as I was trying to ride my bike across the country. Finally, on that same trip, I hit Louisiana, and as I already alluded to, my wife would always go out 20, 25 miles ahead of me, and we had a route plan. So I head out, I get to the place where we're supposed to meet, my wife's not there. All right, I waited another 5 or 10 minutes, she's still not there. Now, we've been together for about 30 days, she's always there ahead of me. Where the hell's my wife? I call her on my phone, no answer. I text her, no answer. Well, what do? I'm in the middle of nowhere. Do I go back? Do I just stay here? Do I go forward? I had no idea what to do. So I went another 25 miles. Now I'm running out of water. And if any of you have done any kind of long distance riding or anything else, you get dehydrated pretty quick. I burn off 6,000 calories a day riding that bike. I got to eat 6 times a day. No food, no water. Still no Holly. Call, text. Yeah, after the second stop, I called the hospital. I called the police station. Has there been any reports of an accident? I'm looking for my wife. I'm on a bike. I'm 50, 60 miles outside of wherever the hell we were. Nobody knows anything. Finally, I could see my battery is about dead again. Now I'm freaking out. So who do I call? Good old Fran Meyer. Another Hall of Famer. I say, "Fran, I'm freaked out. I don't know what to do. I'm in the middle of nowhere. I've got another 40 miles to go. I don't know where my wife is. Here's the name of the town. Please see if you can find out where she's at before my battery goes dead." End of the day comes along. I end up where we're supposed to meet. No Holly. I have dinner over there. 9 o'clock at night, my wife finally walks into the door. What happened? She got in an accident. RV got totaled. But she was fine. We went out, completed the ride, rented a van, finish the trip. Raise $65,000 for our Pickleball Hall of Fame. Our third organization was World Pickleball Federation. I don't know how many of you are aware, but in order to get into the Olympics, you need to have one international governing body that represents the sport of pickleball. There's one international governing body that meets the initial qualifications, and right now that's World Pickleball Federation. You've probably seen that we are in talks with the other international governing body that has been around called IPF, International Pickleball Federation, and we hope that our two sides will be able to get together so that we can have one international governing body for the sport of pickleball. I don't know how many of you are aware that I just returned from China a short time ago. Last year, pickleball got accepted at the third largest multi-sport international event in the world called the World Maccabi Games. We did 3 exhibitions in conjunction with the tennis competition. We did 3 exhibitions outside in the streets of Israel. This year we got accepted at the Asian Games, another IOC sanctioned event. We did 3 exhibitions. Our main exhibition was done at the Badminton Olympic Arena. I walked out on the floor of where I dreamt as a gymnast of being an Olympian. What a feeling that was, just to be on the floor of where the best badminton players in the world competed. Our exhibition was nationally televised for 2 hours. We had 2,000 people in the stands. Get this, within the first hour, 4.7 million people tuned in. The largest event in pickleball history. Our beloved sport is growing by leaps and bounds, not just in the United States, but worldwide. I am so proud to be a small part of it. I love this game. I know everybody here does as well. And I believe unification is what's best for our sport. And I hope and pray that we can get there. In the meantime, thank you all very, very much for being here this evening. Congratulations to all of my fellow inductees. And I believe in serving the pickleball community. So I'm honored to be here tonight, but if I've got another 8 years or 10 years worth of work to get us into the Olympics, I'm still all in. Thank you.
Seymour, before you put this jacket on, I think this other shirt will help it fit just a little better. You can just throw that on. Yeah, put that on, show that to everybody.
Congratulations again to the class of 2023. Awesome speeches. It was a great night. Thank you all so much for coming. Hope to see you again next year. One little piece of housekeeping. We would like to get all the current inductees up here for a group photo with your jackets and plaques when we're done here. But arrive home safe. And again, thanks for coming.